Welcome to the craft beer craze in Michigan. Bolstered by the Great Lakes and nurtured by the glacier-rich soil, here awaits a brewer's paradise. With fresh hops growing tall in the old Mission Peninsula and fresh barley fields sweeping the mitten, Michigan ranks 5th in the nation in the number of breweries, microbreweries, and brew pubs. From Good Harbor Golden to Whitefish Bay Wheat, from Motown Lager all the way to Park Bench Porter, Michigan is serving up a frosty glass of perfection. Whether you want to take in a game with a two-hearted ale or just sit on a front porch sipping a Steelhead Red, let's tap into life at its fullest and treat ourselves to a taste that's pure Michigan. Your trip begins at Michigan.org.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland. Michigan sports aren't just a game, they're a way of life. And now we've got a show dedicated to die-hard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair.
Remember that.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Welcome into the Ben Bosscher Show right here on 100.9 The Mitt. Man, we've got a lot to get to today. Hope everyone's having a good Thursday. Got football back in our lives. That's always a good thing. Look, I do want to just say this. A lot of crazy stuff going on in the world these days. I hope this show can serve as a distraction to that, to make everything feel normal for 3 hours from 9 to noon, because that's what sports are. They're a distraction to keep us all together and bring people together. So with that being said, let's just jump right into the show. Look, I am going to be about as optimistic and positive with this Tigers team compared to what I'm normally like. Probably more optimistic towards this Tigers team than I have been at any point in the regular season today on this show. That's the good news. The bad news I have for you guys is those Detroit Lions, as the week has went on, I have felt worse and worse and worse about them. It's a little bit of a yin-yang situation with the Lions and the Tigers. I'm feeling great about this Tigers team. There's that little tiny dot in the middle where it's like, yeah, but... And then with this Lions team, it's like, look, 3 years of evidence that this is one of the best teams in football, but then there's this glaring issue right in the middle, that little dot in the yin-yang circle, where it's like, interior offensive line being a problem doesn't really seem fixable if it's as big as a problem as it was in week one. That's how I'm going to set things up. I want to start things out with a stat. A stat that I saw this morning when I woke up, and I actually could not believe it was real. I had to confirm it elsewhere. I don't know if you saw this one, Kyle, but it was the first time in Yankee Stadium history, new or old, stadium between the new one and the old one, it's been around for over 100 years, 102 to be exact. First time in 102 years that the Yankees have lost back-to-back games at home by double digits. Your Detroit Tigers are the first team in 102 years to go to New York and do that. Just another BTA performance from this Detroit Tigers team yesterday. Riley Green hits his 33rd home run of the season. And now here's another stat for you. 33 home runs, 107 RBIs, the most since Miguel Cabrera's 2016 season when he hit 38 home runs and had 108 RBIs. Riley Green at 24 years old is inserting himself into one of the best Tiger seasons ever. I really don't think that's an overstatement, because when you consider they're going to win this AL Central division for the first time in about a decade, who knows what they can accomplish in the postseason, whether it's a lot, a little, or nothing. This is one of the better Tigers regular seasons we've had in a long time. And for Riley Green to be inserting his numbers into conversations with Miguel Cabrera tells you about everything you need to know about this kid. 24 years old. I know we've had a lot of conversations whether or not he's the face of the franchise, whether or not he's a superstar. There's a lot of ups and downs throughout an MLB season. And specifically with Riley Green, it feels like this season there was some tremendous peaks and some really low valleys. But, man, now that we're sitting here with 16 games left in the regular season and the Tigers are – I can't call them one of the hottest teams in baseball, but they're not, because they're not. They are the number one team in the American League right now, though. They are kicking the absolute crap out of the Yankees back-to-back games. And Riley Green, when it's all said and done, 16 games left, 162 games played. I know he's had a couple days off here and there. This guy's an absolute stud, and you should feel comfortable with him being the face of your franchise because he's one of the best hitters in the American League, point-blank period. Tigers crushed the Yankees once again. And it's impossible to not feel great about this team right now with 16 games left because they're crushing what was allegedly the best team in baseball, at least in the American League, in the New York Yankees. They've got the number one point differential. They're the odds-on end favorite in the American League to come out on top. And the Tigers are saying, to hell with all the odds. We're showing up here, and we're kicking the crap out of this team. Fantastic watch both nights, looking to get the sweep tonight.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, especially doing it in essentially the same fashion that they did it in game one of this series, where it was tight for the first several innings. You felt a little bit shaky because Jack Flaherty's actually putting together a pretty good outing, but, man, we got to get him some run support before the wheels fall off a little bit because we've come to expect this with Jack Flaherty. One, that didn't happen because the wheels never fall off. He just goes a solid outing, which is great. And two, the offense does come in and really – in back-to-back games now, it's been a close game for a while, and then late into the game, or at least in the middle part of the game, all the way extended throughout, the offense steps up, not just once. It's not like timely hits or anything. It is just continued offensive production over and over again, whereas like all the Yankees runs in this series have all come off homers, 3 runs, all on 3 solo shots. Like, they're not just getting these occasional scores, the Tigers. They are getting them as a collective unit, putting guys on base, bringing them all home. That's how you win playoff games. Like, that is my favorite part about this series is these feel like playoff games until it gets obviously into a big-time blowout. Then it's too far gone at that point for the Yankees. But
yeah, if it was a playoff game, the boos would be even louder.
Right. But come like these 5th, 6th, and 7th innings, like it really does feel like true playoff games, and the Tigers are winning those playoff games right now.
So you know why Jack Flaherty had a good start? Because when he still had 25% of the gas tank left, they decided to take him out. Like A.J. Hinch continuously throughout the course of the season has let this guy ride until the fumes have been out. And then it's like he just absolutely collapsed in the 6th inning. Like, why'd you not take him out? And his pitch count was pretty high yesterday. But that's the recipe for Jack Flaherty. Let him go 5 innings.
I was even kind of thinking it in the 4th. I was nervous.
Right.
But he was good. So.
Before he can spiral, take him out of the game. That felt like playoff managerial stuff last night from A.J. Hinch. And I know his pitch count was high, so maybe he wouldn't have been out there in a 6th inning anyway, or to start the 6th inning.
7 Ks, only 1 walk and 2 hits. Like
in just 5 innings? Like, that's all we need, Jack. You don't need to stretch this guy into the 6th and 7th inning. Honestly, in the postseason, I'd prefer he never walks out there in the 6th inning based on his numbers, like past the 5th inning. He can't go through a lineup a 3rd time. But the fact that, like, goes through the 5, take him out of the game. Now we've gotten 3 straight good appearances from Tyler Holton, too. It's like, guys, the Tigers, like, Jack Flaherty, nice outing. Casey Mize, back-to-back nice starts. There's reason to feel pretty good about this Tigers team right now. I know there's been a lot of ups and downs, but, man, they're 6th in runs scored over the past 30 days. Look at their record against some playoff teams. The Yankees, they're 4-1 against this season. The Mariners, they're 2-4. That's the team they've struggled with. They're 4-2 against the Astros, with a couple beatdowns in there as well. 3-4 against the Blue Jays. And then 3-0 against the Red Sox. We always talk about who's the team you most want to see in the postseason because it felt like for a while the Tigers were the team that every other team in the American League was pointing to and be like, I hope we end up playing those guys,
right? Even
though they're going to get the first round bye. How can you not say it's the Yankees after this week? They've destroyed them. They've mentally owned them. Whether it's on the mound, whether it's from the plate. I mean, they're the first team in MLB history to go to New York and beat them by double digits back-to-back days. Like, how has that never happened?
Anytime that there is first time in MLB history at all, Like, it's something crazy because of how long the league has happened. Even the Tigers themselves, whether it's been at home, away, whatever, it's the first time they've beaten the Yankees by 10-plus runs in back-to-back games since 1906, just in general. And I like your point about the managerial stuff. It felt like a playoff game, A.J. Hinch executing. You want to know why it truly felt that way?
Tell me why.
Because you have a lefty on the mound in Carlos Rodon, and you have all of the lefty killers in the game, and they hit him pretty well, especially once he came in the 5th and 6th inning. They did a pretty good job getting to him. The Tigers have 2 pinch hit home runs yesterday from their left-handed bats that typically aren't in the lineup against lefties, in Kerry Carpenter and Colt Keith. Both of them come off the bench and hit a home run in this game. Kerry Carpenter does it lefty-lefty, by the way, so that was pretty cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that's, like, you talk about the pitching. I thought the pitching was executed great from a A.J. Hinch making decision standpoint, and offensively, getting 2 pinch hit home runs. This is why I will never, ever complain about A.J. Hinch doing the substitution stuff on offense, because you have times like this against a really good team, and this represents what it will look like in October. And it was executed perfectly.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to jump in and start bashing A.J. Hinch for, some of his decisions. I know some people, especially in the middle of the year, I think this was more so they were in the middle of the losing streak, so people were just finding stuff to complain about. Like, remember when everyone was like, the broadcast has too much fun? Shut up.
Shut up.
Seriously, like, what are we doing? Right? You're just lashing out on the wrong people. But I think part of that was, like, why do we take Kerry Carpenter out of the game? He's the best hitter. Like, A.J. Hinch, he doesn't quite hit 100% on these pinch hitting opportunities, but he's up there, man. Like, the pinch hitting stuff is like,
he's right a lot more times than he's wrong.
Correct. That's the best way we can put it. Look, I think we put these coaches up on pedestals sometimes, specifically the people here in Detroit. Like, I'm not bashing anybody, but I do think there is a sort of factor here. When we love our guys as head coaches. Nobody's sitting here bashing Dan Campbell. Not a lot of people bash A.J. Hinch. But A.J. Hinch is kind of the rare guy where it's like, I'm just going to let him do his X's and O's thing. And I'm just, like, until he gives me reason to doubt him, I'm just not going to.
Right.
Like, we can get behind, we can talk about some of the decisions Dan Campbell has made. I'm all for the aggression on 4th down, but there's been a few where it's like, that was probably just a bit overboard, like some of the fake punts and stuff. The A.J. Hinch stuff, it's like, he just sees it before I do. He does. And I can sit here and try to be the smarter person and dissect it and say, no, that guy's like 3 steps ahead of the other manager, let alone me and you who are sitting here 2 hours away. You know what I mean?
Supercomputer baseball brain A.J. Hinch has.
Correct. 989-837-6125. Here's my question for everyone, though. As much as it was awesome to see this Tigers team kind of ball out yesterday and on Monday, I feel the exact opposite about the Lions, guys. As the week has went on, and we got to watch the Bears, and we got to, kind of let all the stats unfold from this past weekend, I feel worse and worse and worse about this Lions team. And if you look at the schedule, you guys know who we play week 3, right? And I say we like I'm on the team. They got to go to Baltimore. Week 3 Monday night, they're in Baltimore. I don't think they're winning that game. Which means this upcoming week, this Sunday, 1 o'clock against Chicago, is maybe the most must-win game a week 2 has ever seen. Because if they lose this game, you're suddenly staring down the barrel of 0-3. And that is one of the most horrifying things you can possibly be staring at if you're an NFL team. How many teams have ever made the playoffs after they start 0-3? I've got the number for you, and I'll tell you when we come back. It's the Ben Bosscher Show, live on 100.9 The Mitt, 989-837-6125. Are you feeling more confident in the Lions or the Tigers right now, heading into week 2, 16 games left in the regular season on the baseball side of things? 989-837-6125. What team are you more confident in? I have a stat for you regarding the 0-3 teams. When we come back, we'll move things around, get things going. If you're looking to move, well, you got to meet Matt Smith, Modern Realty, redefining real estate with a fresh, modern approach, whether you're buying, selling, or investing. Matt Smith delivers personalized service tailored to you. Cutting-edge marketing, local expertise, and a commitment to making your real estate experience as smooth and successful as possible. From cozy starter homes to luxury properties, they know how to find you the perfect fit. Trust the team that combines innovation with real-world know-how. That is Matt Smith of Modern Realty.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The
Go fishing, bird watching. Let's blow the suds off a local tap. Take a tall ship dinner cruise at sunset. Or stop by a festival just because the name made us smile. Right here in the Great Lakes Bay region, where reconnecting with what really matters is pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
989-837-6125, as great as it feels for this Tigers team to be peaking at the right time. This Lions team, kind of feeling the opposite about them as the week has gone on. I don't know about you, Kyle, but I feel worse about this team now than I did on Sunday, and I didn't think that was possible with how much the Lions kind of just got their butts kicked in. And it wasn't even like a rug pulled out from under you, gut-punching loss. They just sucked, like straight up. And as the week has went on, I've kind of just been thinking about this. Like, how do they improve their biggest flaw, which was obviously the interior of the offensive line? Dan Campbell's talked about communication. There were some plays they were on the wrong. Not everyone on the line was on the same page. Taylor Decker and Tate Ratledge ran one play while the other three guys ran another, and that's how Montgomery got stuffed and lost yards, almost resulting in a safety. Next play almost was a safety as well because Taylor Decker got beat by Rashawn Gary so bad. But they'll be able to fix the pass rush, I believe. Ali McNeil's coming back at some point this season. Even before he does, they already just basically said they're not going to drop Hutch back into coverage anymore. Not sure why they were doing that in the first place. There's adjustments to be made on defense. With the offensive line, I don't know what the adjustment is if the guys in the middle just aren't very good. Like, you're not just picking up interior offensive linemen in the middle of the season. That doesn't happen. Remember when Cam Robinson got traded to the Vikings last season in the middle of the year, and it was like, that's weird because that never happens. There's never offensive tackles that get moved. And it's even less likely that an interior guy gets moved throughout the season. Look, will the interior of the offensive line improve as the season goes on simply because of experience and playing together, meshing? Yes, absolutely. They're going to be better Week 18 than they were on Sunday. But with that being said, when the floor is that low and you're solely banking on experience as the reason that you're getting better, the ceiling is also very low. PFF rated them the 21st ranked offensive line after week 1. 21st. This was number 1 offensive line in the NFL last season. And sure, you can make an argument for the Eagles being 1. They were 1 or 2. 21st? Look, they'll get better. I have a very hard time imagining them cracking the top 10 again. If you're starting this low, even if you are getting better every week, the ceiling is also low. I'm very nervous that this is something that just kind of can't be fixed, and they overlooked a little bit, and as talented as the skill position players are, and the defense can be, that's kind of a separate entity, like play calling, all that. We'll get into that eventually too. But look, man, it doesn't really matter who's calling plays on offense or who your quarterback is, or who the weapons are, or who you paid and who you didn't pay, if the interior of the offensive line is just going to be that bad.
21st?
21st.
Those numbers exist when it comes to offensive line? I'm a Lions fan. I didn't know they got that low.
Oh, they get all the way to 32.
Man, that's crazy. I feel like a Bears fan right now. Yeah, look.
They didn't have a much better performance from their offensive line, too, and that's a lot to do with the meshing part that we talked about.
Yeah.
But they at least have some veteran guys like Tooney and
Jonah Jackson as well.
Jonah Jackson is
who was
somewhat
god
of a mess
awful
last season.
Well, and in that first game he was too.
Like they at least have, all right, we'll mesh together, we'll figure out the chemistry, and we've got some talent here. The Lions, what if
they just don't have talent?
What if they just don't?
Yeah, and the Bears' big thing was legitimately just a lot of procedural stuff, like just mistakenly penalties. Like
it was either 4 or 5 false starts.
Which obviously, like, that is super duper annoying, but it's also incredibly fixable.
Right.
Whereas a lot of the line stuff, I'm not saying it's not fixable, but it's a lot more difficult than just not jumping off, as a false start. So, do you feel less confident because you said you felt less confident than after the game on Sunday now? Which I'm a little bit opposite because I was pretty down in the dumps just as far as, one, I was just depressed because of it's week 1, football, I was so excited, and that's how the Lions start the season.
Yeah, not fun.
2, because when you actually think about how they lost, like more of just taking my fan perspective out of the game and just looking at the game as a whole, like how the Packers dominated in essentially every single part of the game. There wasn't one positive thing to be like, well, at least the Lions did that against a good team, so they can continue to build off that and fix the other things. So that's why I felt bad. But then when I watched the Bears play, because I was honestly fearful, that first drive, Chicago, Minnesota, Monday night, I see Chicago come down, relentlessly scoring, and I'm like, oh, man, like this is going to be – I'm nervous now against Chicago. And then the rest of that game happens, and I'm like, no, the Bears are still like every version of the Bears they've been the last 5 years. And so I actually feel better after that game because I would be still shocked if the Lions – lose to Chicago. I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, it's a right-in win. Like this is going to be an easy dub like it's been the last couple of years. But I feel better than I did after the game on Sunday, I would say.
Let me jump in here then, Kyle, because I'm not even necessarily talking about this Bears game.
Just
they're 6-point favorites, and we'll do our NFL spread picks later today too. They're 6-point favorites against the Bears. It's not this game specifically that I'm panicking about. It's the season as a whole. Like, even if they win on Sunday, I'm kind of just expecting them to be 1-2. Baltimore doesn't look beatable, and I'm still trying to figure out how the Bills won that game. Like I think there's an argument the Ravens are still the best team in the NFL, other than maybe the Eagles. That Ravens team looked unstoppable. I don't want to go to their place. I'm not expecting the Lions to win there. And again, I fail to understand how the interior of the offensive line is a fixable issue. That seems like something, if you have a bad pass rush, you can trade for a guy like they did with Zadarius Smith. If you need another weapon, you can trade for a receiver. Those guys always get moved at some point throughout the season. Your interior of the offensive line isn't good. It's like, how much better can you really get in 18 weeks? I don't know. This is uncharted territory for the Lions.
And it's scary.
To say the least.
Yeah, and I guess it's a good point to kind of zoom out rather than just the game this week, just thinking about the season as a whole. It is weird when you look at how the Tigers are playing right now. A year ago, it was a little bit of the opposite before the Tigers went on their big run. And they're, like you said, they are peaking right now currently, looking like one of the better teams in the league, whereas the Lions that this city has viewed as the best team in the city for some years.
That's not the case right now.
I don't know if I would go that quickly.
The Tigers,
just after week one, you're writing that in?
I'm ready to write it in. The Tigers are the number one team in Detroit right now. Until the Lions offensive line looks competent, I don't get how you can say it's the Lions. Like, they have one of the most talented rosters in football. The problem is their Achilles heel is hanging on like this. Like, their Achilles heel has been stretched so thin with 3 new guys in the interior of the offensive line. It doesn't really matter what else is happening. If you're losing there consistently, how are you supposed to have a good offense, let alone a great one?
So there's just no world that the offensive line can improve this week against Chicago?
No, I think they can improve. I think there's room for improvement with this team. But they were ranked 21st. 21st. If you're going to start that low, I don't think it's possible to climb very high. Like,
it's been 1 week. Like,
if the floor is that low, I think the ceiling is low as well. They're not going to be a dominant top 5 group this year. Like, that's
yeah, but I don't
become
think
very clear.
But we were not expecting that coming into the season either. Pre-Packers game.
We thought they could still at least be good, right? We thought they were going to be a good offensive line.
You don't think at this point they can ever be good? Like, you still don't think that?
Was there any sign of it?
It's one game, Ben.
I know, and I'm not trying to overreact, but that doesn't seem something that's completely fixable in the middle of the season. Like, if there's one thing where it's like, hey, if you're going to lose here consistently, like, you probably just, like, everything kind of gets thrown out the window. It's the interior of the offensive line, specifically when you have Jared Goff as your quarterback.
Right.
And this isn't even me complaining about Jared Goff or anything like that. Like, he has shown when you set him up to succeed and you give him weapons and a great offensive line and a good play caller, when everything is perfect around him, he's capable of winning a Super Bowl. I mean, he's been to one, for crying out loud, and he's been 1/2 away from getting to a second one. When everything's perfect around Jared Goff, you can win. You can win football games. Not everything is perfect around Jared Goff right now. The interior of the offensive line is going to make Jared Goff's life very difficult this year, at least early on. And now they're looking at this Bears game, 1 o'clock Sunday in Ford Field against Ben Johnson. I don't think there's too many scenarios where it's a week 2 must-win game. But I told you I had the numbers for you. You might not want to hear this. Just going to be honest with you, Kyle. If the Lions lose and start 0-2, they have a 11% chance of making the playoffs. If the Lions were to lose to the Ravens then and start 0-3, they have a 2.5% chance of making the playoffs. Only 4 teams have done it since 1990. And let me just ask you, do you think the Lions can beat the Ravens on the road?
I'm not going to say that they have 0 chance to beat the Ravens. You don't feel good about it, but I will never say they have no chance of beating them.
My point is, this is a must-win game for the Lions.
Yes, that's fair. I also will never pay attention to percentages and stuff like that after the Tigers had a 0.2% chance to make the playoffs. So
that's also a great point. 989-837-6125. More confident in the Lions or the Tigers at this moment in time. Again, 989-837-6125. We'll get to some Mitt messages in a little bit. Let me tell you about the Midland Area Community Foundation. In the meantime, they're dedicated to strengthening our community through generosity and connection, supporting local nonprofits, scholarships, and projects that make Midland a better place to live, work, and play. Your donations help fund vital programs in education, health, the arts, and more right here at home. Partner with the foundation to leave a lasting legacy and create positive change for generations to come. Get involved, give back, or learn more at midlandareacf.org. Together we build a stronger
Bosscher
Midland.
Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
It is the Scholar Athlete of the Month, proudly presented by Fisher Companies here on Sports Radio 100.
Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
Kyle, are you feeling better about the Tigers or the Lions right now?
I mean, it has to be the Tigers, but I think that I don't know, actually. I think I actually might still say the Lions. I know that sounds crazy just because the more and more I try to convince myself of it, it's like this is still a Tigers team that lost 2 of 3 with Chicago this past weekend. Like, it's not the fact that I'm discounting.
Football was on. I didn't see any of that.
Right. I'm not discounting what they did, but or like what they've done the last 2 days against New York, because obviously those games are more important than the White Sox games, and I've loved the way that they're playing. But it's just, this is how fast things change, you know? Like, as far as who do I have more confidence in, I don't know. Maybe it is the Tigers. I really can't decide, man.
Gary said in the chat, to Ben's point, this isn't a small issue like changing cleats to playing for the playing surface. This is a big part of how your team can function. Talking about the interior of the offensive line. That's my big holdup with the Lions right now, guys. Like, this isn't some issue like, hey, they struggled to run the ball against Green Bay. No, they did that, and they couldn't protect Jared Goff to save his life. Like, those two things together, this team's not going to be able to function on offense. Forget about Ben Johnson. Forget about Calvin Shepard. Forget about dropping Aiden Hutchinson back into coverage. If you can't win on the interior in the run or the pass part of it, you're not going to have a good offense. It doesn't matter who your weapons are. That's the scary part for the Lions right now. And my if getting myself into trouble here. I'm going to get myself into trouble. My adjustment would be, I was going to say if I was the coach. Do we have a sounder that says that?
Like, I could be the coach of this team.
Right. My logic would tell me, okay, if you're going to lose on the interior, like, you got to have quick passes. Like, get the ball to Amon-Ra, run these bubbles to J-Mo, get Gibbs going on some screens. Like, you got to just get the ball out of Goff's hands as fast as possible. Guess what? Dan Campbell told the media earlier this week, he's like, yep, we're just going to get back to running the football. Like, just got to get better at it. There's no excuses. Essentially saying, we're not changing who we are. Like, we just have to be better at what we do. It's like, okay.
I think that's I think that's a fair thing to say.
Yes, but also, like, you have to be able to make adjustments at some point. And I think one thing that the Lions did poorly on both sides of the ball on Sunday was make adjustments, specifically on defense. I thought that Calvin Shepard had a worse debut than Johnny Morton for as bad as the offense was functioning. I just don't know how much of that's on Johnny Morton versus how much of it's just on, hey, if we're not winning up front and our linemen have no idea who they're even supposed to be blocking, and 2 of them think they're running one play and 3 of them think they're running another, that's not, I mean, maybe you can say the communication part is just coaching. Sure, that's fine too. But the actual play calling and scheme, I thought was worse on defense compared to the offense.
Yeah, but, you know, maybe if they just did the exact same thing as last year, it'd be easy, right? Did you see that clip of the Dan Campbell press conference?
Do you know who asked that?
No, and I feel like I should know because it's a voice I recognize, and it obviously has to be one of the main beat guys of the Lions because I've recognized that voice.
I think.
But yeah, I mean, just the Dan Campbell was not loving that, man, and it's pretty entertaining sometimes. I wouldn't say he was going at him, but he was just.
No, he was just challenging him, like, tell me what you're talking about. Well, for anyone who doesn't know, we don't have the clip cut at this moment, but someone asked Dan Campbell, like, wouldn't it be easy to just, like, replicate exactly the offense you were running last season?
He didn't even really say that. He just said, why don't you? Like, why don't you just do exactly what you did last year? And why was there no pre-snap movement? And Campbell's like, there was 0 pre-snap movement?
And the guy was like, no, but there was way less. And he was like, how much less? Just basically like putting – if you would have came back with facts and been like, you did it this % of the time last year and or on Sunday it was down to this, like, it would have been – I think it would have been a valid question.
It just really wasn't thought out extremely well, yeah.
No, it sounded like someone on Twitter told him to ask that, and then he asked it verbatim from a guy on Twitter.
Right.
That's what it sounded like. 989-837-6125, just seeing what other people are gauging right now. Patrick says Tigers with a little Tigers emoji. Todd says Lions, no competition. Nick thinks it's the Lions. Another different Patrick says the Tigers. It feels like a 50-50 split right now based on the people that are texting in. I want to hear from people who they're more confident in. You think it's the Lions. I'm like very much in on the Tigers being the team I'm more confident on. And that's coming from me, who's been telling everyone that the Tigers, maybe this is an overreaction, but I've been telling everyone for months, this Tigers team, they've got a lot of holes. This is somewhat of a concerning group.
Right.
And gassing up the Lions all offseason where, like, hey, as long as the interior of the offensive line is decent, this is the best pass-catching weapons in the league. They've got one of the best rosters in the league. Guess what? That interior of the offensive line, though, is not average. They're actually well below average, which is the scariest part.
I mean, the only reason why I'm a little bit hesitant to say so is how much would it shock you is if on Monday morning the Lions do something like they really turn things around against the Bears, have a really good game, play well, the offensive line looks a lot better, and the Tigers drop 2 of 3 with the Marlins this weekend. And then all of a sudden you're taking back what you said. So it's just that's why I'm not too quick to jump on that yet. I want to see more from Detroit on the football side of things first. It's not really my lack of confidence in the Tigers. It's just I'm not that quick to jump off the boat of the Lions.
989-837-6125. We'll hit the news when we come back. It's the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt. Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, here's another stat for you with the Tigers. This one's from Ryan Field, ABC on Twitter. The Yankees have lost the season series to the Tigers for the first time since 2011. Doesn't even sound right. They haven't won the season series against the Yankees in 14 years. He'll take it, man. And not only are they going to win the season series, they're dominating it. They're up 4-2 right now, 4-1. Chance to make it 5-1 if they can win tonight and sweep them. They're up 23-3 in terms of runs this series.
4-1? That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. All right, let's hit the news.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
All right, the news we will hit. We've been talking about the Lions. So let's talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown. We all know he's got that podcast with his bro, Equanimous, who I think is jobless currently. Just kind of wanted to toss that in there.
Canned by the Niners, right?
I think so,
Most
yeah.
recently with them?
I assume he's got to be on a practice squad of some team, though. I'd be kind of surprised if he wasn't. But anyways, he had Roma Dunze on his podcast this week to preview the game against the Bears. And he was kind of talking about Ben Johnson coming back to Detroit. He says, we are all going to be booing him. He says, week 2 is going to be so crazy. I promise you it's going to be electric. But as soon as Ben walks in there, we're booing him. I don't give a bleep. We all booing him. We all expected this, right? I mean, we know he's going to get booed.
But I also know, like, St. Brown definitely loves Ben Johnson.
Of course, yeah. And I think Ben Johnson, like, they have, like, a clear... Like, I mean, Ben Johnson's kind of a hothead, you know? Like, he's a lot like Dan Campbell, but, like, in a good way. Like, where him and St. Brown are going to mesh well. Odunze said, yeah, Ben Johnson said it's going to be lit, and I'm here for it.
Oh,
yeah.
There's no way Ben Johnson said that. There's, like, 0% chance Ben Johnson said those words.
Paraphrased a little bit by Roma Odunze.
I'm excited, man. Home opener should be a rowdy atmosphere. Hopefully that can continue the false starts for the Bears on that offensive line. Ooh. But they're
who gets booed harder, Matt Stafford or Ben Johnson?
Ooh,
for sure Stafford, right? I don't think anything will ever beat that.
I mean, that was a playoff game.
I mean, they were booing him so hard it was directed towards his kids, you know? Like,
yeah, that was also a playoff game. I think that's
exactly.
just different.
And the first playoff game too. So.
Yeah, it's Stafford.
Yeah, I would agree. Tigers-Yankees Game 3, though, is today. Tyler Holton is going to be represented as an opener for Sawyer Gibson-Long. They're going up against Cam Schlittler. That's at 7:05. See if they can go for the sweep.
Get the brooms out. Get the brooms out. I hope so. I really hope so. There's nothing like beating the Yankees. I think John's going to join us later. I don't know if he's listening right now. We're going to have to give it to him, aren't we?
Yankee John?
Yeah, Midland's finest New Yorker.
Yankee coming with no brim?
He's coming on for NFL picks later, but we might have to let him know about the Detroit Tigers being not one but 2 legs up on this Yankees team this season.
20-2 or something like that in the run race for the series. Just good stuff.
23-3.
Man, that's just crazy. Okay, we talked about Brock Purdy potentially being out. It sounds like he's going to be out 2 to 5 weeks right now. Kyle Shanahan said this morning. So Mac Jones, we're for sure getting some Mac Jones over the next several weeks.
I'm going to save my takes on this for when we do our spread picks. I'll tell you this, though. I am excited for Mac Jones.
I don't know if that means in a good or bad way.
I'm excited for Mac Jones.
Okay. Thursday Night Football tonight, Commanders at Packers. Jaden Daniels, who was on the injury report with a wrist injury. He's off of it now. He's good to go. Micah Parsons is actually listed as questionable, but it was the same thing as last week. Expect to see him in a similar fashion this week as last, according to Ian Rappaport. 3.5-point favorites the Packers are at home, by the way.
I feel like the Packers are the team that everyone kind of jumped on. It's like, oh, they're the Super Bowl favorites. Like, okay, it's been 1 week. What do you think this line would have been before the season started? Because I think it would have been Green Bay.
Packers still would have been favored. I mean, it wouldn't have been that much different, I don't think.
I think it would have been 1.5 or 2.5.
Yeah.
Like, I think week 1 has swayed the line by 1 point. Which is a lot.
Yeah, it is. You're right. Yeah, I could see it.
Feels too high.
Probably 2.5. I would think it probably would have been. But the Packers also beat a really good team in the Lions by a lot of points. So, makes sense. I don't hate the line, but we'll see. NBA news, this came after the show yesterday, but this is important for all the nerds out there. The NBA is implementing a new change for next season where unsuccessful end-of-period heaves, a.k.a. the full-court shots, half-court shots that happen at the end of quarters, will now be recorded as a missed field goal attempt for the team, but not for the player. If you ever watch an NBA game, none of these guys shoot full-court shots anymore because it affects their personal shooting percentage, which you can be mad about it, but at the end of the day, stuff like that is what goes into contracts and everything.
Yep.
And so that's why they don't shoot the full court shots. I kind of understand it. This is a W rule for everyone involved. We get to see more full court shots, and it doesn't affect the percentages of the players.
I think we see a record amount of full court shots hit. I don't know who's tracking that or where I can find that information, but if I had to guess, by the end of the regular season, we have more full court shots made than ever before because no one's going to be afraid to attempt them anymore.
Right, yeah. I mean, I could see it. You have guys like Peyton Pritchard who are just like the full court shot guys. Now everyone's going to be the full court shot guy.
It kind of blows my mind how often the NBA players can make them. Like the videos of Curry just like basically throwing it one hand, or Luka does this all the time from across the court. It's like, how is this even possible that you're so good at this sport where you can just heave it with one hand and it just goes in when you want it to
or
go
like
in.
the Jokic off his right leg last year, the one-hander for three-quarter court, like just the weirdest
You mean
shot of all
you mean the
time.
Euro step that he threw towards the basket
The
and went
opposite leg
in?
Euro step? Yeah, just
Ridiculous.
It's
stuff.
funny because like when you're in high school and grade school and stuff, you want to, like, if there's 3 seconds on the clock and I'm at three-quarter court, give me that ball. I'm shooting this half-court shot. But in the NBA, it's the complete opposite, you know? So it's just kind of funny.
Were you ever a part of a full court or half court shot?
I made a near half-court shot in a game that we were getting blown out by in, like, my JV year. So it was like I made it, but it wasn't even like a – it was like at the end of the third quarter. It wasn't even like oh, my God, I just made that because we were losing by a ton. So it was like, oh.
When I was in high school, we had a kid hit a three-quarter court shot.
That's crazy.
Not to win the game, but to close the half. And we just bolted out of the gym, chasing him to the locker room. So awesome.
That's unreal. So hopefully we get to see a lot more of that in the NBA this season. Okay, moving back to some baseball news. Paul Skeens yesterday got his 200th career strikeout. It's the first time in his just short 2-year career getting to that number. The 4th pitcher this season to eclipse 200 Ks.
What is it? Scooble, Crochet?
You got 2. I don't think you'll get the last one.
Is it Evaldi?
By the way,
No, he
Crochet,
didn't play long enough.
Crochet 6 more strikeouts than Scooble, by the way. It's not like Scooble could win the Triple Crown this year anyways, but
Who's the last one?
it's Logan Webb of the San Francisco Giants. He's got 201 Ks. But shout out to Skeens. They've been having him on a little bit of pitch limit lately because obviously the Pirates are out of it. He only pitched 64 pitches last night. Typically a guy that goes to 100, but yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah, exactly. You're just not trying to get him injured or anything, so makes sense. Okay, we had a couple Tigers that we might see by the end of the season pitch last night for the Mud Hens. No, Alex Cobb isn't one of them. I'm not doing an Alex Cobb bit here.
He's done. They already announced he's done for the year.
Yeah. Jose Urquidy and Paul Sewald both pitching yesterday for the Mud Hens. Urquidy walked 2 in 2 scoreless innings, 28 pitches, 13 strikes. And Paul Sewald pitched a scoreless inning with 15 pitches, 10 strikes. That's coming from Chris McCoskey off of the X Everything app. So, yeah, hopefully we'll see 1 or 2 of these guys by the start of October.
What if you got paid $15 million to never actually do a radio show?
That'd be kind of sick, right?
I
mean,
know,
what are we
wouldn't
supposed to do? Hate on Alex Cobb? Dude just got paid $15 million to do nothing. Like,
Hey,
I can't hate on a man for that, you know?
do a couple practice. Do like 4 practice
your
radio
money,
shows
man.
this year.
Yeah, we're like, there's maybe like 5 people watching, you know? Like, just a couple people are watching these games.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but like I said,
can't
I'm
even
not
fathom
going to
that,
hate
man.
on Alex Cobb, dude. Like, the contract was given to him.
No, this is
This is strictly
There's
on the
only
people
one
who give him
person
the
to be mad
contract.
about.
Yeah. Correct.
Thank you, Scott.
Anyone that hates on Alex Cobb, you're looking at it from the wrong span here.
Yep.
Aroldis Chapman yesterday, Ben, gave up a hit. Yeah, I know.
saw
That
this
sounds
one.
kind of I was
saw
going to
this
ask.
one.
Dang, I was going to ask if you could guess the date.
I don't know the date, but I saw it. Just
the
a
Athletics,
ridiculous
yeah,
number.
Athletics came back to beat the Red Sox to avoid the sweep there. Last time Aroldis Chapman gave up a hit. Give me a day. It's September 11th.
August 1st? I don't know. That seems aggressive.
July 23rd.
He's crazy.
That is
Didn't he have the record for most
he is-
consecutive outs without a hit given up?
I could see that, honestly. I really don't know.
That's what I
It
thought.
would shock me. It's really crazy to me how Chapman is having essentially
The best season of his career.
Season this year. At what age is he? I just pulled it up.
Old.
37 years old, and this has been one of the better relievers of our generation.
One of.
Hardest pitching, definitely the best lefty. It's just crazy to think that he's having the best year of his career this year with the Red Sox.
Who else is even in contention with that? I feel like it's just Chapman's been in my life since I can remember watching baseball, just dominating
He
people.
really has been. You're right. I mean, it probably is just him. I'd have to do a little bit more thinking there. But yeah, it probably is just him.
989-837-6125. Are you more confident in the Tigers or the Lions based on what we've seen from the Lions in week 1 and what we've seen from the Tigers in 162 minus 16? Quick math here. That would be 136 games? 146? 146. Close enough. Are you more confident in the Tigers or the Lions right now? And I'm not talking this Sunday. I'm talking big picture. I'm way more confident in the Tigers right now. I'm not trying to overreact to week 1 of the Lions season, but guys, the interior of the offensive line is a problem that I don't know if can be solved. 989-837-6125, Ben Bosscher Show.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
Nine 837-6125. Hope everyone's having a good Thursday. We got football back in our lives later today. Look, I know there's a lot going on right now. Hope we can serve as a distraction for that. 9 to noon every day on 100.9 The Mitt. Just to focus on sports here, man, because that's what it is, right? There's a whole lot going on, but we can all come together for sports. That's what they do. So hopefully we can provide that for you guys today as a little bit of an escape from reality. So with that being said, are you more confident in the Tigers or the Lions? Because I'm sitting here like, I don't think it's an understatement, Kyle, to say if the Lions lose, and I don't think they will, but if they do, the alarm button is like, that's no longer an option. It's just over. As crazy as it sounds, if the Lions lose this week,
it's over.
It's over, yeah.
Cancel the season.
Look, man, if the Lions lose this week, start 0-2. They've got an 11% chance of making the playoffs. Then they go to Baltimore, where if they lose that game and go 0-3, they have a less than 3% chance to make the playoffs. If they lose on Sunday, alarm bells just going off nonstop for a week, like full-on panic mode. Yes? Do you agree with that, or is it still able to bounce back? Like if they lose on Sunday, it feels like the season's all but done in a way.
No,
it
that's
does.
too far. That's
it
too
does.
far. There's a difference between being panicked, which I think is the appropriate response, and saying the season is over, give it up. I don't care about the rest of the season.
They're going to be 0-3.
We
if
don't,
they lose on Sunday.
We got to remember who this Baltimore team is. Like I would almost rather play them now than in week 14.
What?
Baltimore
Why?
loses early in the season every year. They start 2-2 every season. Like, this is just what they do. We saw what happened in Buffalo the other night. They played like the best team in the league and somehow lost. Like, that's just what they do early in the season. So I'm not saying that, the Lions have a good chance to beat Baltimore, but I'm also not going to just write that in as a loss. I mean, this team lost to Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders last year.
If they start 0-2, what on earth gives you any sort of logical reason to pick the Lions against the Ravens, who by all accounts look like, other than the last 2 minutes of the game on Sunday night, they look like the best team in football this weekend?
Sure, that's fine. I'm not ready to just pack it up and the season's over. Like,
how do they fix? Here's my question, I guess, then. How do they fix the interior of the offensive line? Because I don't see how that's possible. Yes, they will slowly and gradually improve simply based on experience, reps, and playing together and meshing together. But I don't know if they're going to be better than average at any point this year. Like, if the ceiling is, if the floor is low, that means the ceiling is low too. You don't get to have a high ceiling and a low floor with an offensive line. You just don't.
Right. Well, I think the big issue is, I think we can see the internal development come from Tate Ratledge and Mahogany this season, right? Like, that's something that we could envision happening.
Yeah, but I don't
throughout the year.
Yes, but they're going from, you hope they become average starters, right? Like, that's kind of the goal. Do you think it's possible for them to be, adequate, above average quality starters?
Yeah, I think there's a chance of that. But where I was going with that.
What about Graham Glasgow, though?
That's where I was going with that. That Graham Glasgow, on the other hand, it's not like he's not some young guy that all of a sudden you think can just improve, just because that's what young players in this league do as they get more reps. So Glasgow is the main issue. It's different because even if those guys did become quality starters, well, last year it doesn't matter who's playing guard because you're in between Penei Sewell and Frank Ragnow. You're between Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow.
That's why Christian Mahogany's PFF scores were ridiculous for those two games.
You just got to be solid. And I think that it's reasonable to suggest that Christian Mahogany and Tate Ratledge at some point can be just solid. The issue is you don't have Frank Ragnow in between them anymore. You actually have the worst guy on the offensive line potentially in between them, who is the most important to keeping Jared Goff safe and alive in the pocket. So, yeah, I totally agree. And as far as is it fixable, I'm trying to think of ways that it can be fixable without a personnel change, which obviously is something that we can't suggest happening.
There's not going to be an upgrade,
right?
Positionally, unless one of the rookies, and I'm just kind of throwing Christian Mahogany into that. I know he's not a rookie, but unless they're so bad that they end up going with one of the reserve guys, that's the only. They're not getting an exterior player from outside of the organization to fill in. These are their guys. You don't get to pick up interior offensive linemen in the middle of the season. It doesn't happen.
Okay, let's throw out this scenario. Graham Glasgow is continues to just be the worst part of this offensive line, right? The guy who we all thought was going to be playing center this season was Tate Ratledge.
Yep.
What if he's just better at that spot than he is next to Graham Glasgow at right guard? If I'm not saying this happens this week, but just at some point things happen. A change needs to be made. Maybe a Glasgow injury that causes it or something. I'm just trying to think of a world where this could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And Ratledge gets put back to center, and then one of the practice squad guys gets lifted up to be the right guard. Maybe Miles Frazier becomes healthy. Whatever the situation is there. Is that a scenario where you think maybe this could fix things? Because it is all coming from the exact middle of this offensive line right now. That's where it's stemming from.
Ideally, theoretically, yes, but they've already tried this and it didn't go very well. So they had to switch it back. Like they've already tried this and it failed.
Or were they just going to give it to Glasgow all along because he's the vet?
No,
and has played center.
No, because Tate Ratledge cross-trained at minicamp way back in May. Then they came into camp and he was taking first-team reps at center for the first week or so. And then basically all the quotes out of camp when they switched it to Graham Glasgow being the center was, there was just a lot on Tate Ratledge's plate. Like for a rookie to be commanding the offensive line and calling the shots and identifying the defense.
Which is fair.
It just seemed like a lot on his plate because he had never played center before. Yeah. So they were like, we're going to put him back at guard, take a lot less off his plate. And he still on Sunday looked like lost out there. There was just a lack of communication. I don't know if it was a Graham Glasgow thing, Jared Goff thing, but either way, they openly told us, Taylor Decker said, me and Tate Ratledge ran one play, all the other three guys ran another play. That's how David Montgomery ended up on the 1 yard line, on their own 1 yard line.
Yeah, and David Montgomery literally had to do a hezzy step 3 yards deep into the end zone just to avoid getting a safety.
So right? you tell me, would you rather have Tate Ratledge back at center if this is what they preferred out of camp? Would you want it to get switched up already?
If this is how the offensive line is going to be the rest of the year, then I don't see why not. If we're just writing in that this is what it's going to be, which it sounds like you're doing, then why not try to make a switch, right? Because if we're talking about is it fixable, obviously it's not if it's just going to stay the same way. So we have to try other things to maybe see different results. And I don't know if that's feasible, and it's probably not the best idea in the world. But at the end of the day, 20th best offensive line, whatever it is not going to cut it for a playoff team.
No. Oh, God, no.
That's been
especially
a top 5 unit for the last several years.
Yeah, that's been the identity of the team. Like, it'd be one thing if they've never had a good offensive line, like the Bengals, and they've gotten to the Super Bowl. And everyone kind of forgets, like, the Bengals got to the Super Bowl that year, yes, because Joe Burrow was great, but that defense was also kind of lights out, and they've completely lost that aspect of it, too. The Lions have been a top 5 unit on offense the past 3 seasons because the offensive line has been so good and they've had a dominant run game. How's Jahmyr Gibbs supposed to get going on explosive plays if the interior of the offensive line is bad? How is David Montgomery supposed to pick up these 3rd and 1s, 3rd and inches, 4th and 1s, 4th and inches if the interior of the offensive line is bad? How are they supposed to utilize J-Mo on taking deep shots if the interior of the offensive line is bad and Jared Goff is pressured right away to start every single snap when he's in the gun or under center? It's just like, if there's one thing you wanted to point to start out this season, is like, what would spiral this season out of control? It would be the interior of the offensive line being bad, because there's not really a comeback to that, even if you can slowly and progressively get better as the season goes on. The one thing that would throw a huge wrench into the season is the failure of that group living up to the standard. Through week 1, it's only 1 week, but through week 1, that has been the case. Like, the biggest red flag, panic thing that you could possibly think of looked very true week 1 for the Lions. Meanwhile, you look to the team across the street in those Detroit Tigers, they're peaking at the right time. Like, that is why, to me right now, the Tigers have eclipsed the Lions as the number 1 team in Detroit. Is that an overreaction or an underreaction or a proper reaction after week 1? That the Tigers are the best team down in Detroit. 989-837-6125. Would love to get some of your thoughts on this. We got live on YouTube. We got the Mitt messages too. Drop a comment, drop a like. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do that as well. Help us out. Go a long way. Appreciate everyone watching on YouTube, listening on 100.9 The Mitt, live on Facebook as well, if that is your preferred way to watch. Again, 989-837-6125. Can see all you guys if you're watching on YouTube, and you can see the difference at Midland Eye Care, where your vision is their focus, offering comprehensive eye exams, glasses, contacts, and advanced eye health services. Friendly, knowledgeable staff and a wide selection of stylish frames for every face and budget. Locally owned and trusted by families throughout the Midland area while offering comprehensive eye care services and in-demand lenses and frames. Whether you're updating your prescription or checking in on your eye health, they've got you covered. Book your appointment today and start seeing clearer tomorrow. That is Midland Eye Care, and this is The Ben Bosscher Show.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt. Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, let's check in on some Mitt messages. Adam says the Lions will take care of Chicago, and because of this week 1 loss and all the doubt they can hear, they can go to Baltimore with a chip on their shoulder and something to prove. Remember that. And then another text from him, settle down, Ben. Settle down.
Wow. Yeah, cool.
I think I'm just a little bit more worried about this Lions. Like, I think I'm a little more worried about them than the average person because I feel like everyone's like, bounce back. Dan Campbell doesn't lose back-to-back games. And I'm like, guys, like, I love the rah-rah. I love the culture. Like, all that stuff makes sense, and I believe in it. But if the interior of the offensive line is going to be as bad as they were on Sunday, there's no out. Like, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. That's just how it's going to be. I got bad news. That's just kind of it, you know? Like, that's just kind of how it's going to be for the whole season. Maybe they'll get better, but it's not going to be by a substantial amount. And I don't know. I look at this Tigers team right now. Seems to be peaking at the right time. Beating the absolute piss out of the Yankees, who are the favorites to come out of the American League. And not just beating them, but destroying them. They're up 23-3 in terms of the runs scored in this series so far through 2 games. Got a chance to sweep today. Riley Green's looking like a franchise player. He's 1 RBI away from passing Miguel's 2016 season, which obviously wasn't Miguel's best season, but like the fact that that's the territory he's creeping into that tells you everything you need to know about him. Like, it's just feel good for the Tigers right now. It's not so much for the Lions. For me, that doesn't mean you have to agree with me, but in my opinion, the offensive line, and specifically the guys in the middle, is even bigger. Like, I can't stress enough how much of a problem that is to me right now.
So, like, I know we're not doing a full game preview of this Bears game.
No, that'll be tomorrow.
Right, but I do just want to quickly ask you, like, because it's been a lot of, like, what if they lose to the Bears, and a lot of you're not confident in the Lions right now. To me, it feels like you think they're going to lose.
I don't think they're going to lose. But
then why do we feel this way? Because it's been pointed about the starting 0-3 thing, right? Like, I get you could think that, long term, like, this team might not have the biggest ceiling as they did the last couple years because of the O-line. Is that really what it is? Or is it just we don't think this team is good at all because they're going to start 0-3? Or do we just want to say?
I didn't think they would. I don't think they'll lose to the Bears. I didn't think they would lose to the Packers either. If your interior of the offensive line is that bad, as bad as they were on Sunday, the miscommunications, they're losing one-on-one reps, it's going to be hard to beat, like, anybody. Like, I have a hard time visualizing, like, just pure domination like they did last year. 6.5 just kind of feels like a lot. That's how much they're favored by with Chicago coming to town. Those 47-3 wins, the 47-6 wins that they had last year, hung 52 twice last year. If you can't run the football and establish that real early, those days kind of seem done, no? That's
yeah.
Again, I'm not saying
no, you're right.
I think that we're going to lose to the Bears. There's the we again. But it's pretty hard to go into this game confident. No? Yes?
No, you're right. You're right. It is. It's difficult to. I agree. I just think that maybe this is a good chance for them to try to fix. Like, I think there is a world where we come out of the game against Chicago and we feel a lot better about the offensive line. I really do. I think that's a tough Week 1 opponent. They just added a guy in Micah Parsons that you really didn't have a ton of time to game plan for. I know that didn't really matter. Like, they would have been bad even if they didn't have Micah Parsons because he wasn't even out there for all the snaps anyways. But I just think this is a good opportunity for them to try and improve this week against Chicago. And I wouldn't be shocked if on Monday morning we're talking like, okay, maybe this offensive line isn't that bad. You know?
Maybe. Like, maybe they're not the worst offensive line in football. That'd be nice if we weren't talking about that.
We're not talking about that right now either.
No, we're not. But bottom third? Probably. I mean, PFF had them 21st. They do offensive line rankings every week, and throughout the course of the last 3 years, all it's done is gone up and up and up and up and up until the point where they were number 1 at one point last season. I think they finished 2 behind the Eagles. Okay, well, the Eagles are still number 1. That's kind of the problem, and the Lions are 21st. If that's the identity of the team, and remember like that conversation we had in the summer where it's like, I feel like the identity of the team needs to shift. Lean into the weapons, get the ball out fast as possible, have Jahmyr Gibbs catch 100, or not catch 100 passes, but have 1,000 receiving yards. Like, that's entirely possible. It feels like they're anti-lean into that right now. They're more so, we're going to fix this. We believe in our guys. Sorry, Tate Ratledge, Graham Glasgow, and Christian Mahogany. Whether you like it or not, whether you're equipped for it or not, we're going to run the football.
Right.
I don't know if I love that approach. And I feel like if things shift or if things don't change this week and it's still a struggle, like you need to make that shift before you go to Baltimore. You don't have a choice.
Right. I don't know if necessarily they were anti that strategy last week. It's just they really weren't even given the option to, just with how sour that the game got started offensively. Because we saw in that second drive when they actually, or in the second quarter, both of those drives, they were able to move the football down the field.
Yeah.
Like it's not like they just 0 times could not establish the run game. Like it was semi-established on those drives. It's just
the explosive plays weren't there on the ground.
Yeah, the explosive plays weren't there, and then also when you're not able to cap off either of those successful drives with points, it totally tatters the confidence, and then you're unable to get on the scoreboard, which means you kind of have to abandon the game plan a little bit. So I don't hate the response of like, hey, we just need to be better at what we have been good at for the last several years. I don't hate that, but like you said, if clearly that happens again this week, then a shift may need to be made on what the approach is going forward.
I feel like we're kind of honing in on the Lions here, which is fine, without giving the Tigers the credit they deserve for where they are right now as the 1 seed in the American League with 16 games to go. I believe the magic number's down to 8 to clinch a playoff spot, but come on, they've been clinched in the playoffs for a while.
They banded that.
Yeah.
1 seed right now, going up against the Yankees or Red Sox potentially if things ended the way that they did right now.
Oh, I'd love to play the Yankees in the postseason. That'd be ideal, right? One thing's become very clear this week. If the Tigers are going to go, whether it's on the road or at home, the Yankees are the preferred team. I said that yesterday. Are you aligned with me now based on how last night went?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it obviously has to be. I think I was aligned with you yesterday, too, just because we talked about the Tigers' strengths like totally match the Yankees' weaknesses. Like it really is the perfect matchup for them. And I just think that a couple of weeks ago when we discussed like there really isn't a team in the American League that you're like, sign me up to play them.
No,
like,
it was the Tigers.
Right. The Tigers were that team. Yeah, maybe Houston because the Tigers have just had success against them this season. But even like Seattle's gotten hot now out of nowhere when they had really been kind of slowing down over the last couple of weeks. Now there is that team, and it's the Yankees. With the Tigers' ability to score runs late in games, which has shown not just against the Yankees, but just in general this season. Like, they've been a clutch team all year. And then combine that with the fact of you feel really good about their back-end guys on the mound. So those two things make you feel really good about facing the Yankees in the playoffs.
Again, it's the first time in Major League Baseball history that in Yankee Stadium, new or old, that a team has picked up back-to-back wins by double digits. 102 years of history, the Tigers are the first team to show up and do it. Domination, like straight-up domination. And it does feel like they're very dependent on one guy, that Yankees team. That one guy is horrifying. He's done some damage to the Tigers already that series.
That one guy also doesn't hit in the playoffs.
It's a really good way to put it.
Oh, did I say that?
Wait, who's that one guy?
We've been talking about this for a while too, just basically how the American League is kind of locked in. It's really not anymore.
No. Oh, no, there's a lot of teams that can squeak in.
And even just the shifting around of the wild card spots. Like the Yankees and Red Sox have been in a spot for at least a month now where they've basically guaranteed the top 2 wild card spots, whether they are 4 and 5, doesn't really matter. That has really changed. They each only are up 2.5 games over Seattle right now, who's won 5 straight. Texas is right behind Seattle, who they've won 4 straight. And obviously the Yankees on this little losing skid right now they don't even have a playoff spot guaranteed at this point either. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously for the Tigers, I still think they are guaranteed a playoff spot. I think that's safe to assume. They're also probably guaranteed a bye at this point, whether that's the 1 or 2 seed. But it's going to be interesting seeing what those other combinations are going to be in the wild card round.
If they end up the 1 seed, they'd play the 4-5 seed. Right now that's Boston and New York. I'm hoping, which would be an awesome series, by the way. They play again this weekend. Yeah. So it's Sunday night. It's the rules. If they end up playing each other, it's funny because they play Boston here in a week, and they already swept Boston earlier this year. It was another team that they put up 9 runs in 1 inning against. They've done that twice this season, this week against the Yankees and way back when against the Red Sox. Same series when Javi Baez hit the 2 home runs to go ahead. That was a really fun series. Like, honestly, one of the best series of the year if you're talking, awesome. A, from an entertainment standpoint, and B, from a, we're awesome standpoint. Like, just a staple 3 wins there. Because one of them was a 1-0 win. One of them was the Javi Baez game, and one of them they just put up like 13 runs on the Red Sox, I'm pretty sure. So look, we'll learn about the Boston matchup coming up too. The Bregman stuff would be fun storylines, but I don't know how you can say any other team besides the Yankees are the preferred playoff team
Absolutely.
for the Tigers right now.
Especially when you've seen how they played against those West teams this year, not named Houston.
9-8-9, and there's been just success from hitting bombs this week. Parker's gotten on the board. Riley's gotten on the board.
Man.
Everybody hits home runs.
Carey, all them lefties going yard. Not Torkelson, though.
Maybe tonight. Who'd you say was on the mound for the
You
Yankees?
said he was due yesterday, and that
he
didn't
is
happen
due.
either.
I need 2 more home runs from Spencer Torkelson this year. I just want him to see. I want him to see 30 again.
Why do you need that?
Just want him to see 30 again. You know.
Okay.
989-837-6125. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live right here on 100.9 The Mitt. When we come back, we'll take a trip around the league, get things going. It should be a fun one. Stay tuned right here on The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.